Hotty toddy, Ole Miss fans, and welcome to the Brad and Chad Show on the OM Network. Brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA. This is the show by and for Ole Miss fans, where you'll get expert insight and analysis on Ole Miss athletics. And now, here are your hosts, former Rebels Chad Flowers and retired NFL star Bradley Sowell.
Podcast time.
Brad and Chad Show brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. It is the day after Easter. Bradley, did you have a good Easter weekend, man?
I did, man. You know, when you got as many kids as I got, it's what's funny is, so what we do on holidays is we tell our kids, hey, you got to go in your room. The Easter Bunny's coming, Santa Claus is coming, whatever the hell you want to call it. Now my older girls, they laugh at me now, but I'm dead ass serious. I let them know that the Easter Bunny and Santa is real, and I play that shit to the T. Well, we put them in the room with an iPad, and we say, hey, do not come downstairs until you FaceTime mom and dad for your Easter stuff or whatever until the Easter Bunny comes, because we don't want them to go out of the room. Well, 2 o'clock, buzz. It's
2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's not time for the Easter Bunny yet. Okay, go back to bed. 3:15, buzz. Dude, it is still not time for the Easter Bunny. 5:30, finally, buzzing. Please come downstairs and get the shit. Please come downstairs and get the stuff. Like, they're up all night, for two kids, which my two older ones who don't believe, they're the ones FaceTime buzzing me the most. The little boys wake up and then they eat it all and they get sick, and it's just, typical Easter. But yeah, that's what we deal with.
Yeah, I bet after eating all that candy, they were pretty strung out for the rest of the day. So it was just a fun time all around the house. Did you have practice as well for the girls? So
how about this? Now my wife, she'll laugh at this. So I switched practice to Friday this week.
Okay,
I said, hey, we're not gonna practice on Easter, which is typical. We practice on Sundays. She was like, well, that's Good Friday. I'm like, well, we got to get some softball practice in one of these days. So we chose Good Friday. We had a good little practice, and that was that.
You made it a great Friday then, so that's always good to say. Yeah.
No question. What'd you do for Easter? What did y'all get the pig? What'd you get your pet pig?
Nothing. I didn't even give him attention, so that was pretty standard for him. The little guy had plenty of candy to eat and plenty of stuff to play with. He didn't really know about the Easter Bunny, so it was pretty much, hey, man, you got some stuff in there. You may want to go check it out. He had no really idea about the Easter Bunny. We did an Easter egg hunt on Saturday. Got him all excited. He found more eggs before it started. Like, as we were walking around, he would find one. I'm like, no, not yet. We hadn't started yet, because I don't want him to just take all the eggs from the kids. And then once the hunt started, he would pick up the egg, and he was damned and determined to open it up to find out what was in there, while kids were just running past him. So he got 6 eggs because he didn't give a shit. Once he picked up an egg, I got to find out what's in this thing and look at it and figure out if it's candy or not. And then he ended up with 6 eggs. So
so I went to my kids' Easter egg hunt. I'm not going to put the school on blast, but it was the most participation trophy thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, listen, if you've never been to where I'm from, you may or may not get a bloody nose if we do an egg hunt. And if you mess around and put more than $2 in that egg, there's an ass kicking about to happen. Well, my kids' school, they had to each count it out. They each got 12 eggs, and they walked around. If you had 12, you had to drop them in your basket. Like, dude, come on, this is survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah.
If you put a bunch of eggs out there, the best athletes should get the most eggs, right? The hustlers should get the most eggs. Not everybody gets the same cash.
Especially if you're putting cash in those things. Yeah. You can't tell them you got cash in, because if you tell me there's a big prize in one of those eggs, I'm going to be damn sure to find every single egg I get, and I'm going to make sure that I get that cash prize. That's for sure.
Oh, no question. As a kid, if you told me there was $5 in an egg, somebody's getting that ass beat. Mm-hmm. I'm getting that $5 egg. You got me? Like, you can't. In some place in Mississippi, you can't do a money egg hunt. I can tell you that right now.
Well, no, because in that case, some of the adults would be out there trying to find it too, trying to get gas money for the way home.
No question.
Yeah. So did you watch any of the Masters?
I did. I watched every bit, which I'm glad that was kind of delayed like that. I watched every bit of it on Sunday. I just laid on the couch. Honestly, I guarantee there's a dent in my couch on the left side. That's the first time in the longest time. I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to lay here, because I'm one of those people. I like to get up in the morning. I like to go, and I don't stop until night. I said, you know what? I'm going to literally I'm pulling the wires out today. I'm laying on this couch all day. And I did. I mean, I would have liked more fireworks.
I know.
At it, but I mean, Rahm just played well, and Koepka, the only one that was in a big lead, he just kind of played like crap, and it just never get it going. But I tell you what was fun was watching Phil and Jordan Spieth freaking come on at the end. I mean, they kicked ass.
They were on fire.
It was fun. It really was fun watching those two guys to pull it. And if they'd have played just a tad better a couple of days before and played like that the last round, that's they probably would have had a chance to win that thing. But it was I was hoping for some kind of playoff. I mean, even when Ron was teeing off at the end, I'm like, hook this thing.
Oh yeah,
to do something. I want to play off with Phil. So it's interesting though, the whole the live golf. They have only played 3 rounds. You got the whole people arguing about, hey, well, he's not used to playing 4 rounds of golf. I mean, that's kind of
the argument, right?
Yeah, it was an odd field. It was really an odd field. I mean, he was really off that last 8. He was last 22 holes. He
was terrible. Yeah, I mean, Koepka. Going into the weekend after Friday's round, I'm like, man, he may just walk away with this thing. But, Saturday had to suck a little bit for him because I don't know if you saw any of the highlights from Saturday. They were playing in basically a monsoon. There was standing water on some of the greens. And I guess CBS was just holding everybody hostage. Like, look, y'all are going to play at least 6 holes just so we can get everything in on Sunday because we need those ratings. But there's no way they should have been playing at all on Saturday. It was ridiculous how they were trying to play in those conditions.
Yeah. How about Tiger? Some of my buddies, they start texting me as soon as he had a few bad holes. They're like, all right, over under how many holes till he withdraws? Sure enough, some gun, Tiger withdraws with foot injury. I mean, good night. But Tiger does not, if he's down in a tournament, he is out of there. He is not.
Did you hear the story that Jason Day told about Tiger? So last year, I forget which tournament it was. It might have been the PGA Championship, but he withdrew from one of the tournaments because of a foot injury or a leg injury, one of those. It was because one of the screws broke skin. That's why he had to withdraw. So, you're watching him yesterday, he was hobbling around. He looked miserable. And, considering how wet it was, all the walking that he had to do, dude, I'm like, man, just cash it in. You're not going to win this thing. Go home. There's no need to be out there any longer. Yeah, he might have had somebody back in his bungalow too. You never know with Tiger.
Yeah. The how about the damn amateur from Texas A&M? Apparently he was playing. He had to play today.
Bennett?
Yeah, Bennett. So he obviously he's in the Masters. He finishes 17th somewhere in there. Well, he's scheduled for a tee time today in like the Aggie Invitational, where yesterday he's playing with a Masters champion. Has a caddy. This morning he is having to carry his own bag, be his own caddy, back college student the next day. Like there's no, in his mind, he probably could care less what his score was today. I mean, he's on cloud 9 due to the top 20 Masters finish.
Dude, the stories that you're going to be able to tell, hey, on day 3, I was teeing off with Koepka and Rahm, who ended up winning. I was teeing off with the final group on day 3 of the Masters. That's a pretty awesome story. I still don't know how all the amateur stuff works because it would have been crazy if you end up winning that thing and you don't get any of the money from it, which is wild to me. I don't know how all that works. But, yeah, just being able to not only be the best amateur, but beat a majority of the professionals in the field. That was pretty cool to see. It was a really fun tournament. I love the Masters. I love all the majors. I don't really watch golf on a week by week basis, but I'm always watching the majors. They're always fun.
Yeah, no question, man. Let's get into some Ole Miss baseball here. So, another weekend, but I really watched the games this week. This is the first time I've been a little disappointed. I really watched the games this weekend, and I have came to a conclusion.
All right, I'm going to hear this conclusion. Go ahead.
I think that our team is playing. I don't think it has anything to do with Bianco.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think it has anything to do with talent. I think they're just playing complacent. There was multiple chances. Listen, you look at that Sunday game, right? Mm-hmm. We look at that Sunday game. There were multiple times where Arkansas wasn't beating us. We were beating ourselves, right? Yeah. It is a very complacent mindset, the way some of these guys – you look at Gonzo. Gonzo, he fields a ball, boom. He doesn't make the throw to third there, bobbles it. They go on and score, go up 3-1. Well, he comes up the next inning, hits a 2-run home run, saves that, right? Mm-hmm. You look at later in the game, ground ball to freaking TJ McCants. He just kind of moseys to it, boom, bobbles the ball. They end up scoring from first base. There's just like a lot of little things going on this team that I think it's like I'm telling you, I think we're on a national championship hangover. Do I think that we are a great team this year? I don't, but I do not think we're a 2-10 SEC team. I think that we are blowing these games, and I don't see the hunger there. At some point, if I'm Bianco, I'm pulling some of these guys out of the lineup. I hate to say this, but the hunger in there, you might as well go and put some young guys in there that you at least have a chance to get some experience for next year, because next year you have nothing in the lineup other than some decent pitching.
Yeah, I was pleased to see on Saturday Quinn pitched really well. Quinn did pitch good. He's got and Rivas has the game that we won on Friday. Rivas is big, and you have Hunter Elliott presumably back for LSU weekend.
Yeah.
Riley Maddox is back. I mean, it is looking tougher and tougher to see us making it to Hoover just from a qualification perspective. But, at what point, Bradley, when a team is playing and they're playing poorly, how hard is it to just quit? Because it sounds like, or at least it looks like, some of the guys have just kind of quit out there. They're just going out there and, the old speak of going through the motions. At what? How hard is it to not just quit?
Here's the problem. You returned a lot of guys from that national championship team, right? And they've already won a national championship. A lot of these guys are in their junior, senior year. They know they're going to get drafted. You look at McCants; he's going to get drafted regardless of what he does at Ole Miss, just based off sheer upside. You look at Shotney may or may not get drafted. Some of these guys are just going through the motions right now, and I don't see the 100. I mean, Gonzalez, he's going to be a first round pick. Like, what is he playing for? Actually, you know what I mean? Like, where's that extra? Where's his motivation to go that extra step or make the extra play? Right? He's just trying to get out of this freaking season so he can go be drafted first round. So at some point, Bianco's got to do what he has to do and what's best for the program. And some of these guys, man, they either got to freaking show up and want to play and battle, or you got to get out of there, man. Some of those plays that are happening, just like the nonchalant, just goofy plays that it just, dude, it drives me like crazy. I watched every freaking pitch this weekend, and we are not a bad team. This team is not a 2-10 baseball team. No. We just are not. We're not making the plays when they're there to be made, and we're just not good enough this year to overcome it. And that's the honest truth.
I think the season hinges on. It's easy to say this, but if you can't take 2 of 3 from state this weekend,
we better sweep.
I think I'm kind of along your line of thinking where play some youngsters, get some at bats in. Let's try to see what we have going into next year, because if we can't beat a very beatable Mississippi State team 2 out of 3 or not sweep them, even if it's in Starkville, then this team's just not gonna. If you can't get up for this weekend, I guess is the way of saying it, then you're not going to get up for any weekend.
Yeah, and here's the way I see it too. This is how close, this is how small the margin is, man. If you can finish that A&M game, finish this Arkansas game, I mean, dude, you're going to this weekend with a chance to sweep state to get to one game away from being 500 in the SEC. And states, and like I said, when I was thinking in my head, I was like, all right, if we can pull this game off versus Arkansas, get our shit together, go sweep state, which I know is gonna be tough down there in state, but they're not very good. And if you go in there and play well, you can sweep them. You're back in this thing, but we just did not have a chance to finish. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel with our pitching. I can see where that's going to go. I honestly think, dude, I mean, sadly, next year, I think we're going to have some really good arms. I think these guys are all going to be a year older. Revis, Elliott, I think Quinn, you got Sonia. I mean, we got some good arms that are starting, that are going to come on. Maybe not enough to say that this season, but I see the light there. What I don't see the light in is some of these guys that are in there just, I mean, they're just freaking coasting, man. I mean, come on, put somebody else in there at least to gain some experience for next year, because it's just at this point it's sad to watch. It's sad to watch a guy hit a single in a close game and a dude score from first base because you're loafing to the ball, and just making little errors like that just aren't, in my mind, that's not draftable to me. I mean, I get it upside wise, but come on, we gotta get better than this. This is sad.
Yeah, completely agree. Gonzo is as good as much talent it is. He does seem very hot and cold. There's times it looks like he's just not even there mentally or physically. It can be frustrating, but obviously he's got all the talent in the world, and he may just be bored, right? He's already won his national championship. He knows he's going to the next level, and we'll see what happens next. I see you've got your Cardinals jacket on. You still in football mode?
No, so I always wear these. So we always got these sweat jackets with these teams, but instead of eating my crumble cookies today, I'm actually going to go on a nice jog after this. So I'm gonna do the opposite this week. Even though the crumble flavors, I will admit, are the cookie butter, which is amazing, the strawberry cheesecake, which looks amazing. You have the Oreo peanut butter, which looks amazing, and then the cinnamon roll. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this week without eating them, but the only way I know is to tack it with maybe a little exercise and a little running, and maybe I won't think about them. I don't know, but yeah, this is just a sweat jacket. I rep Cardinals, Seahawks, and Bears. Those are my 3 that I can wear at any time. Bears are my number 1 though.
Why run though? Running is the worst form of exercise, dude. It sucks.
I know. It does suck, but it's, for me, when I go on a nice jog around the neighborhood, it feels good. I don't know.
Okay. Now, have you been watching? I mean, the XFL's still going. Are you still watching XFL or anything like that?
You know what? I actually, as I was laying on the couch, as I said, there's a huge dent in my couch. I actually watched the Vegas. What the hell is that? Vegas
Vipers? I think they're the Vipers.
Vegas Vipers versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. And dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if that crowd is cropped in there into the game, but that crowd was so rowdy. I don't know if they're paying these guys like $10
Well,
an
they don't
hour
have
to
any
be
other
there.
football, right? They get left at the altar by the Rams.
Dude.
They got to root for something.
Well, they weren't. The Rams crowd wasn't even like that when we used to play them.
That's true.
I used to play in that old crusty ass dome that they're in, and their fans are not loud. So for whatever reason, man, the Battlehawks are loving there, and yeah, it's interesting. You know, I think some of the rules are actually really cool. The XFL. I think the kickoff is by far that needs to go in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen it done like that, but I was thinking they really want to take out the high speed collision. Which, man, I could tell you right now, I have seen some dudes on some kickoffs running down, take some shots that no human being should endure. I mean, two guys should never run 40 yards apart and just freaking
No.
because listen, ain't nobody when you get older, ain't nobody going right. Ain't nobody's backing down. You're running full speed at each other. I've seen some freaking some soup brains come out of some of these places.
Now break it down for me. What exactly is different in the XFL and the kickoffs compared to the
So
NFL?
in the XFL, it looks like to me there's like a there's like a box that they basically put in like a red circle, and they kick the ball off. You have everybody is pretty much, it's almost like a play. They're right there on top of each other. As soon as the guy catches the ball, then you can go. So it's basically like really close contact, and then you kind of fight to get the whoever catches the ball. I think that's a great. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it's a legit special teams play. It keeps special teams play intact, but it takes away the freaking two guys. Imagine a guy running a 4-3 down there, and all of a sudden you're running full speed into another guy that gets going and runs, running into you. Dude, that's some dangerous shit. Like, and I'm telling you, I've seen some bad shots on that. I think that just makes it more like a football play. So I really like that. Now, as far as the players are choosing, I don't know where they're finding some of these players. I have no clue, but you'll notice a name or two that's in there that you've seen, but I have no clue how they're picking these players. And the quality of ball was decent. I mean, it was not a bad quality of ball. So, I mean, the fact that it's in the spring. I would love to see more of the lower end NFL players saying, "Hey, I can play the XFL for 6-7 games," and especially the ones that are on practice squad and stuff. Go to the XFL so you get some reps in, right? You get some football reps in, so that way you don't show up to camp a little bit off. I would love to see like a minor. So I wish the NFL would take it. I just don't think there's a lot of benefit to it for them. But I wish the NFL would take a league like that and say, hey, maybe I can send some of my practice squad guys, and they're getting some reps and they're getting better. I just don't know how you intertwine those two.
Well, there is some sort of affiliation. I think a lot of the rules that they're doing in the XFL, that's kind of the testing ground to see if the NFL is going to implement any of those. And you got The Rock invested as well, so you've got a big name and a big face to get on there. So I mean, I think we've talked about this on a previous show, but I love the way that they do extra points. Right? You get to choose if it's a 1, 2, or a 3-pointer depending on how far back you want to go. I think that's really interesting. Obviously, it adds more variance in the scoring and all that. I think that'd be fun. Would you ever consider if somebody said, "Hey, Brad, we need some bodies. I want to maybe bring you into St. Louis to play for the Skyhawks or whatever the hell they're called." What's it going to take to entice you to get back into football?
I don't really see the upside for myself, unless it was, $500,000 salary or more, maybe. I just can't do, listen, there are leagues out there where, and there's nothing against the league, but I think they're paying the guys Chad, 40, 50 grand a year.
I think I saw 60 is the average.
See, okay, that's probably for the good players. There ain't no damn way I am going to freaking go out there and get my gosh dang knee blown out for a Chick-Fil-A salary. You know what I mean? Like, that just ain't happening. So I just assume go be a manager at Chick-Fil-A for 40 or 50 grand. Now, it's nothing against it. It seems like to me it would be a better fit for a younger guy.
Sure.
Who doesn't have a family, wants to travel around the cities, maybe meet some new people, different cities, and just have some fun and play some football in the spring, right? That sounds fun, but there wouldn't be a whole lot of upside for myself or some of these others that are maybe a little bit older. That's kind of, I guess that's kind of where they're trying to find the fine line. Where there are some guys in there though that have played in the NFL. That
isn't Jordan Ta'amu still playing in the XFL?
Yeah, but I don't think he ever made any actual NFL money. Whereas Martavius Bryant, that's just kind of.
No, but is Tamu in the USFL?
He's in the XFL. He's on the DC team. He's on the DC team, and they're the number one team in football. And I think Ja'Cory Pearson is one of the leading receivers. He's on the Seattle team.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
so it's good to see.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that I could do it. I don't know that I could do it. There's some guys that really love this game, but after playing a certain amount of time, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I had no kids, nothing, I just want to have some fun, and I was cool with blowing my knee out for $10 an hour, maybe so. But I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, I admittedly haven't watched much of the XFL. I'm kind of footballed out for the time being. But we do have the Grove Bowl this weekend. It should be interesting to see. I saw the past scrimmage this weekend. It looks like Golding's defense is getting things revved up a little bit more. I think I saw like 8 sacks for. I know.
So I read the same thing, and I was excited, but kind of like, who the fuck's blocking for these guys? Like,
yeah, I think he had some guys out, but still, that's scary.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah, that's a lot of sacks, and I look at these stats, man. I'm like, dude, if I see another like 7 for 21 from Sanders, like he's gonna be playing in the slot. Like, I mean,
we got some room on special teams for him.
Yeah, dude.
He's going up with that stuff.
I don't know what to think about our football team. I need to really get a good glimpse of it, but yeah, man, they sound like the defense. Well, and let me tell you something else about scrimmages too. And let me fill in the common fan on what a scrimmage is like. These things, as long as I can remember, they're always scripted for one or the other to kick the other one's ass. That way you can go on the next week. So it'd always be like this. So we would come out of the first scrimmage, this thing scripted, and we would just freaking light it on fire and just beat the hell out of defense. Well, all week now, you come into practice, the offense is all hyped. We're all happy, laid back. Well, the defensive coaches are just getting in their ass, right? So every drill you do, they're trying to kill you all week. So it's like, okay, here we go. So next scrimmage, defense has been getting their ass kicked all week, right? They ain't no good. The offense, we can't. All of a sudden, every fucking play we do is the blitz is in the perfect spot, and we're throwing interceptions. It's like, now the offense sucks. Okay, so then the whole next week, it's just okay. Now the offense, everybody. Now we're the ones pissed off. We're trying to kill the defense. Some of these things are scripted. You really can't look into it too much, but I'm sure the next scrimmage, the offense will have had a better day, based off the script.
Going off of with the Grove Bowl this weekend, what is the number one thing you're looking for in terms of outlook for the upcoming season?
Well, I want to see what we look like on defense, size-wise, how we're moving, what the scheme looks like. Because listen, I think Lane Kiffin and them, I think they're going to have. We're always going to have a decent offense, right?
Right.
At Ole Miss. That's just what we are. We're going to be an offense team. I think there's enough talent over there with who we brought in. Defense, I really don't know, man. Like defense is going to be one of those things where I'm glad we got Golden, but I don't know that he's had to coach with the type of talent we have.
He can't make the plays. I mean,
yeah. Some of these schemes he's done has been great when you have everybody on your defense going to make it to the NFL except one. Now you're going to have maybe one guy make it to the NFL and the rest. Now, so it's like it's a totally different switch of talent, so I want to see what that's going to look like. That's what I'm most curious about, man. I'll be able to look at that defense pretty quickly and tell, like, hey, can we actually stop a run? What are we going to like when we're down in Athens? What are we going to like when we're down in Alabama? Like, that's what I'm curious about. How we're going to look on the defense side of the ball overall, size wise. If we got that look, or like I think offensively, man, we got Judkins. We got one of these 3 guys can play quarterback. I think it's going to be Jackson Dart. The receivers are going to look great. I think we're going to have our offense is going to be fine. Offense will not drop off this year. It's going to be a question of what the defense can look like. Can we have a surprisingly good defense? I don't know. We'll see. I think we got some experience on the front. I do want to give Golding a year or two to bring in type of guys that he wants.
Yeah, and we still have that May transfer portal, right? So there's still time to bring additional bodies in. How you're able to do that effectively, right? Because it's not a lot of time to learn scheme, learn the playbook, get comfortable with new teammates. But that's not to be discounted, especially how heavily Lane leans on the portal. It's going to be interesting to see if he tries to bring in anybody else on either side of the line. Because I would like to see more. I would like to see another offensive lineman as well as defensive lineman, just because you can never have too much depth there. Yeah. But that's really where I'm going to be. Now, hopefully you actually have people play this weekend to kind of get a sense of what the team's going to look like. But, you've had players being held out left and right in all the scrimmages leading up to this point. So who knows what we're going to see. But, I am kind of like you. I'm interested to see what the defense is going to look like, because that was the biggest question mark the last few years, and it's going to be a huge question mark this upcoming season, especially with the new defensive coordinator. So So Brad and Chad Show, brought to you by Nest and Wild Mattresses, created by Southern Craftsmen, powered by decades of experience, passion for improving your quality of sleep, backed by a 99-night guarantee. Nest and Wild will help you sleep easy, and they're made locally in Tupelo, Mississippi. You can find them on Amazon or nestandwild.com. We had an interesting comment on last week's video. I kind of went a little hard on some fickle Ole Miss fans, which, I saw another thread again this week about how are we planning to move on from Bianco and all of that bullshit. I don't understand how we can consider moving on from a coach that has basically made the program what it is now, but nonetheless, I guess that's just what we're going to continue to talk about. But yeah, I mean, this Lane saying clown pie, I don't know if he was going at me or just making a comment, but yeah, I'm gonna go off on fans like this because we just feel so goddamn.
What was the comment, Chad? We need.
It was something like going all in raw on bad fans. So yeah, that's one thing I'm known to do is going in raw and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that when it comes. I have 4 kids, dude. I have 4 kids. I'm. Yeah, that's the title of my sex tape. But yeah, I don't understand why we have to immediately move on from someone that took us to the highest of highs. I guess we're going to rant again this week. He took us to the highest of highs last year on a season that we didn't even think we were going to make it to the tournament. And now we're like, well, I guess we just need to consider finding something. We need a succession plan. The guy's only 56 years old. We're already trying to bury him just after a bad season where we had some of our best pitchers injured. I don't understand it. It's
and he just passed Skip Berkman in all-time wins this past.
He's arguably the greatest coach in Ole Miss history. Arguably, I'm sure people are going to say, Vaught. He's still arguably the greatest coach in Ole Miss history, and we're just basically saying, yeah, but he's 2-10 in SEC play this year. Is he really that good? I mean, Jesus Christ. He had 2 of his best pitchers go down, and we're replacing half of our offense. I don't understand the mindset. It's mind-blowing to me. I'll never understand it, but then again, that's just the entitlement that fans have these days. It's fucking...
Yeah, I've always said, listen, Ole Miss is a very tough fan base to play for.
Yeah.
But not to mention, I am that fan too, though, Chad. Like what I have to admit, and it was inbred in me when I was a kid, right? Like my dad's turn off. We get on 7-0 Alabama. He just flicks the TV off. Like it's over. We suck, And then all of a sudden he's sitting back in the third quarter. And he's got the TV back in his hand. Like that's just Ole Miss fans, man. Like they have a very high expectation, and when Ole Miss is really sucky, they accept some shit that ain't that great. And then all of a sudden, once they kind of turn the quarter and become kind of good, like it's there's no in between with Ole Miss fans. It's either you're coming off a bad year and everybody's cool, they're dead or whatever, or they're expecting a national championship, and that's fine. I get that, but people have to realize Ole Miss historically has no foundation to lay its hat on and say, hey, we're this championship program. But I do think that we are in a much better spot now than we've ever been. But I'm still the same way, dude. Like I was so done with Ole Miss baseball last year after that Tennessee series. Yeah. Like I didn't even want to watch, and all of a sudden I was all the way back. It's just like, dude, that's just how Ole Miss fans are, man. You gotta love them. That's just
let me be clear. I still want to win every game, right? I'm not saying that it's okay to lose. I'm certainly not accepting losing, but you also have to understand. I'm just speaking in general. You have to understand that you're not going to win every game, and that's just the nature of baseball. And considering the pitfalls that this team has come across, it's understandable when you're considering they've played Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, and I forget the third series of who they played against. A&M. I mean, it's not like they're playing the worst teams in the conference, right? Yeah, you want to be able to compete with the best teams in the conference and win. I'm not saying that we shouldn't want that, but it's understandable that they have struggled like this, considering going into conference play, we're like, well, we don't really know if we had the pitching yet. Turns out we don't. We don't have.
How do you combat the argument that? Tell me how you feel about this argument, because I've seen this as well. They say, Ole Miss, we did not take advantage of winning the national championship. Why were we not more active in the portal with pitchers?
Well,
I think that's a great argument.
It is an argument, but I would argue that when you make a deep run into the season, how hard can you focus on recruiting when you're still in it, trying to compete and you're still trying to, win games because you're in Omaha, right? How I don't know the balance and how you're able to recruit when, all the other teams except for 8 are in Omaha. They're able to hit that transfer portal, find new recruits, but you're still having to focus on the season. So how hard is it to balance that, right?
Well, I think if you look at it, our pitching recruiting class was unbelievable this year. We do have some good young guys. They're just not ready. And I think if you look at it from Bianco's standpoint, he's thinking in his mind he has a fully healthy Hunter Elliott who's likely a 7-0 to 7-2 type of pitcher, maybe 8 wins this year for Hunter Elliott. Whereas if he's in there, I think Ole Miss is easily 4-7 maybe instead, or maybe 5, whatever. I think they're a couple games better than they are, or 4-8, whatever. So I think from that standpoint, you look at like, hey man, not only we thought we were going to kind of suck at pitching this year, but we thought we had one guy who's going to at least go out and probably win most of his games, and then we can kind of muster off the rest. And it just has not worked out. It's what was going to be an average year anyways in the SEC play has turned into a bad one based off pitching.
It has, and it's not over yet. We still have the weaker part of the schedule, but also look at what's come in through the transfer portal and how well they've done. Groff has been great in center field. Leger has turned it around. He has struggled up until this past weekend, basically, but he's starting to play.
Leger has crazy talent. His talent's unbelievable.
Yes.
He has a great swing. He could be a good player. He's coming to the SEC from freaking, was it Delgado or some shit? Or where did he come
community
from?
college. Yeah, he's coming from community college. You've got Calarco, who's been good at first base. And, Rivas, he's been one of our most consistent pitchers. So the transfer portal has been good. I think I would make the argument that we haven't gotten more transfers in the bullpen, right? Because that's where you need a little bit more experience. We're relying on too many freshmen. So the bullpen has been the biggest disappointment. But you lose Mallets, you lose Riley Maddox, and once again, injuries have just been bad.
And Jack Doherty's supposed to be your number one arm at the bullpen. He wasn't supposed to be a starter. So now he's thrusting that role. Yeah, so losing 3 pitchers, 3 of your top pitchers, and having another one become a starter, I think is exactly what you can point to this year. I don't think it's a Mike Bianco thing. Like I said, I watched the team this week, and there's a lot of bullshit going on this team that needs to be called out. I mean, you got older guys that are acting like they're having a pina colada on the beach. They're not playing they weren't playing like a team who was 2-8 on the SEC coming in, or whatever the hell they were, 2-7. So. Yep.
It's just unrealistic expectations based on what the makeup of the team was going into the season, especially after the Hunter Elliott injury. That's my only point. So we'll end that there, because I don't want to do another 20-minute rant on shitty fans or whatever. I think, considering how they're complaining about different things, it is fun, but nonetheless. So I guess we'll wrap up with this.
So, hold on, Lane. We still got to touch on Lane. Did you see the top 25? Coaches rankings, college coaches ranking, or whatever?
I did not. I would imagine. Is Kirby one or is Saban one?
So you got Saban's number 1, Kirby Smart number 2.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Jim Harbaugh 3.
Okay.
Dabo Swinney 4. Let me tell you, Dabo Swinney, he went on a run. He had a good run, but I ain't buying the Dabo thing. Lincoln Riley 5, USC.
He's done nothing. I don't know.
Brian Kelly, LSU. Brian Kelly is.
I'll take Brian Kelly over Lincoln Riley.
Ryan Day 7. Okay. Kyle Whittingham, Utah's number 8.
He's a hell of a coach.
Luke Fickell 9. James Franklin is what I don't understand at 10.
Yeah.
Okay, he did well at Vandy. He does okay at Penn State. He still hasn't really dominated the big. I mean, he's okay. Josh Heupel 11.
Man, that off of 1 year, huh?
Sonny Dykes 12, and then we get to where I'm going to stop is Lane Kiffin at 13. What's your thoughts about the 13th? I mean, here's the thing. At least he's in the ranking. There's been a lot of rankings lately that had him even outside the top 25.
Yeah, I mean, I would have
13.
I would have him top 20. 13 may be a little high for me. Now I'm okay, I guess, with the people that are in front of him. I would probably take Sarkisian over him, because I think what Sarkisian did at Alabama was maybe a little bit better considering the results. I think Sarkisian had one of the best offenses in college football history at Alabama. I don't know. These are also arbitrary. I think that's okay. I would probably have him a little bit higher, maybe 16, 17, 18 range. But I would say he's definitely in the top 25. Yeah, we bitch about how he has, no huge wins at Ole Miss. He helped revamp Alabama's offense. He did win when he was at Florida Atlantic. he's kept us relevant. He's a hell of a tweeter, I guess, is one thing you can give him. But
yeah,
I'll give him.
We're gonna find out. I'm gonna have a real. So I'm already like kind of on Kiffin. I still think the jury's out. I haven't seen him without Matt Corral, like in a longer stretch.
Hugh Freeze should be ranked higher than him. Hugh Freeze has done more.
No question.
Hugh Freeze should be higher than Lane Kiffin.
No question. So what about? We're going to see. I think over the next 2 years, we'll know if he's actually legit. If Kiffin's legit, these are going to all be his players. These are players he's picked.
Yep.
He looked great with Matt Corral a couple years. Last year was the first year without Corral. I thought, okay. I thought we were okay. I mean, we beat the teams we were supposed to.
Yep.
Down the stretch, I don't know I hope that doesn't continue, but that trend needs to quit. But I mean, yeah, I think that's decently fair. And the reason I'm thinking 13 is fair is because if you look at 17, there's where Jimbo Fisher sits, and Jimbo Fisher. I mean, I don't understand how. I want what Jimbo Fisher has as far as how to continuously trick the world with
he's got pictures of someone. He's got pictures of someone somewhere, text from someone that he is holding someone hostage with, because that's really the only explanation.
Richest program in America. And Jimbo's probably a good dude. I'm not shitting on Jimbo. I'm just Jimbo's time's passed. But anyways, richest team in America, #1 recruiting class, all the money in the world, hat like this.
Bobby Petrino is his offensive coordinator now.
I'm not seeing it, dude. Jimbo 8-4. I'm not seeing that. That's just, he went 5-7 last year or something like that. I don't know. I'm not seeing the top 20.
I would, back to your list, back to that list real quick. I don't see why Hugh Freeze is above James Franklin. I think Hugh Freeze has got more results than James Franklin does.
Hugh Freeze ain't even in the top 25.
Yeah, that's ridiculous to me. Yeah, you can joke about his why he left Ole Miss or why he resigned from Ole Miss. You can make jokes about that, but what he did at Ole Miss, what he did at Liberty, what I think he's going to do at Auburn. We joke about how thin-skinned he is. He's always tweeting at people, but the guy can coach. He's proven that. So I think that's a little short-sighted. What's the source of that list you've got there?
This list would be the I think it's the Own 3 or no PFF. No, sorry, PFF.
Oh, PFF. Okay, yeah. I mean, probably because they don't consider him a big X's and O's guy. They think of him more as a rah-rah guy, but I think that's silly to not have one.
They have Mike Norvell at 23. You tell me right now if you said, hey, I want to leave my program. Yeah, I had to choose between Jimbo Fisher and Mike Norvell.
Oh, it's Norvell. Considering what Norvell did this past year, oh man, I think Florida State's on the rise. But yeah, that's an interesting list. I mean, I always find these lists like, hey, we need content. Let's just come up with something. Let's rank people. But yeah, I mean, that's. As long as Saban's at 1, then yeah, the list is probably accurate in that regard. So yeah.
Dabo Swinney, that's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, Dabo. I don't care for Dabo. I think he's a jackass.
Oh, I mean, dude, he's just he had a little run there. He does recruit well. He plays in the damn ACC, which is this wasn't a harder path. But to be a Nick Saban. To do what Nick has done, come on, people are starting to find out you can go on that run for a couple of years, but to do it over a decade or come on, that's gonna be tough. Kirby Smart he's on track to do it though.
Oh yeah, he is. All right, before I let you go on your run, let's talk real quick about Jeff Griffin with the Stevenson Griffin Group at Baird Private Wealth Management. You can go to the group's website, stevensongriffingroup.bairdwealth.com, or you can give them a call at 662-841-1900. That is it for the Brad and Chad Show, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Bradley Sowell, I hope you enjoy your run. Stay strong. Don't engage with those cookies, dude. You can do this. You've got this, all right? Dude. I know it is. I know
big glass of milk. You're sitting there tonight in your underwear.
Now you're already starting to fantasize about it. Just focus. Eat you a salad or whatever it is you eat when you're not eating cookies. But yeah, have a good weekend, man. Good week. We'll talk to you next week. Hotty toddy, okay?
See you, Chad. Hotty toddy.
Thanks for listening to the Brad and Chad Show. Follow the boys on social media for more content. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. This has been an OM Network production, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans, made in the USA.